Okay, good morning, everyone. So we are coming to a close of this conference, and it's always a good moment to take stock, but also to give you some information about the way forward in terms of our activities. So just to introduce myself, Thibaut Kleiner, I'm the head of unit in the European Commission for Network Technologies. And to some extent, I mean, this conference is also representing the core of our activities. So today, I just wanted to summarize a little bit the feeling I got, around these last days in the conference, and it's very much that it seems that last year, when I was closing the EuCNC last year, was saying that somehow NetTech is back because we had a lot of ideas and a lot of projects and a lot of new people, so I could see a lot of enthusiasm in our community. This year, I think that really the message is overall that we are really in the middle of action. A lot of things have been launched, a lot of things are in the making. So basically, our community is right where it should be in terms of launching initiatives, in terms of also starting new processes, and starting also to deliver a lot of things. So it's quite an exciting time, and it's also a good moment to move forward. And that's what you could see also in the conference. But more generally, that's what you see at the level of the European Commission. I mean, Europe has taken a bold step in the recent month in saying that the digital single market is our future, is our best growth potential. So in May, there were announcements in terms of a series of actions to develop this. And what is important is that network technologies, being 5G networks, 4G's development, and Internet of Things are very much at the heart also of this message to use digital as an engine for growth and jobs. So this feeling that a lot is happening, that we are at the heart of the action, I think is also valid for the bigger picture in terms of the policy in Brussels and around member states. So today I wanted to basically take you through a little bit some elements of the conference, lessons learned, and then also have taking stock more generally about some of our activities, the recent calls that we completed, and also giving you a little bit of hints towards the future activities. So first of all, starting with EuCNC 2015. And there I really wanted to give a big thank you and congratulate the organizers for this conference. It was a very hot conference, as you all noticed. A lot of activities and special weather. For those of you who were also at the dinner yesterday, I think we had a wonderful opportunity to admire the beauty of Paris and to meet old friends and new friends. What is very interesting in the conference is that we are on a steep improvement curve to some extent from 3-4 years ago in terms of the conference. We have had 550 registered participants, so really it's going up. What is very interesting is also the number of registrations for workshops and tutorials. So it means that this conference is not only about networking, it's also about real discussions, interactions, and learning. And this year, I think what is striking is the number of foreign visitors from outside the EU. I think this pays tribute really to the value of the debate and also to the interest that this conference is projecting on a global stage. In terms also of the academic activities, I mean, many papers were submitted, including from outside of EU. So again, we have really the impression, and it's really a nice feeling, and I also would like to thank and congratulate the steering committee and all those who have been involved in steering this conference, that we have really a very nice event, but also a brand that is establishing itself in terms of a truly international conference with high quality and a strong link with the EU. Now going a little bit in some of the details and the lessons learned, walking around, I hope you all visited some of the booths downstairs. I think we had very interesting demos this year, and you see also consistent themes around 5G from millimeter waves and testing. So a very nice and an interesting element, just talking to the booth, the people and the participants. But if you want to have some takeaways, at least as far as I'm concerned, I would flag 4 items. First of all, we, despite the title making it believe that 5G is overhyped, I would say that we are now coming to terms with the 5G vision. So it's clearly a very ambitious vision, but it's also taking shape in terms also of the parameters that we are considering for 5G. Clearly, it's more than a radio interface, but at the same time, and I think that's the new element, it's also about a full ecosystem. And that's, for me, one of the key lessons this week, is that 5G is not only about just the telecom sector, it's about also a series of industries and vertical sectors that are interlocutors, but that needs to be brought into our ecosystem. And here I would really make a plea to the participants and to our partners. It's not enough to talk about integrating the verticals. We need to reach out. We had, I think, a comment from some Japanese participant saying that the ICT industry, the software industry, is much more forthcoming to try and talk to their customers and integrate their wishes in designing their software, compared maybe to the telco that has some established forums, established institutions. So really that's the challenge. If we want 5G to be the digital infrastructure for the future, it means that we have to reach out, we have to talk to these industries and make sure that we really integrate them in our vision, in our activities, and in our projects. To that extent, it's quite interesting that IoT and 5G are coming also together in some of the developments, and we see there really a strong complementarity. So as far as I'm concerned, I see that very positively, because we are trying to cover these 2 areas, but there is also in the community something to be done. 2 more points, maybe in terms of takeaway. First of all, it's clear that it's not only about technology. 5G is also about policy issues, and the 2 items that were already coming up very strongly is standardization and also spectrum issues. So clearly that's something where we need to emphasize activities and also get into the normal fora on the back of our projects and research results. So at the end of the day, we think that looking at all the activities, debates, and so on, research in network technologies is very exciting today. We are really in the middle of a great prospect, a great vision, but we are not alone. And I think that was also an interesting message. Just like we have many international visitors, the race is on, basically. It's about delivering quality results and making sure that we can shape the future from Europe, but also in partnership with many people. So now already a little bit about what to expect next year. We believe we can still pay in euros, and that the conference next year will also take place in Athens. So stay tuned, and we'll have more details very soon as far as the future is concerned. We still haven't finalized all the themes for the conference, but clearly we think that maybe demonstration could be a first interesting item, or maybe talking about the phase 2 of 5G PPP, or about the verticals as this year. And the ambition is really to continue on this excellent path, build on the successes of EuCNC 14 and 15 to really deliver a first-class conference, and hopefully you'll join us again. So there was just a snapshot, if you want, for EuCNC this year, and we'll come back to that just for the very last closing remarks. But now I wanted also to take stock and give you some insights a little bit about where we are with some recent activities, both as regards 5G and also as regards Internet of Things. So first of all, ICT 14, which is the code name for the phase 1 of our 5G PPP. There were 2 sessions covering that, but I think it's nevertheless important to share with you some elements about the results of this call. We had quite a significant budget, altogether 128 million euros, in 3 streams, 3 areas, so research and innovation actions and support action. We had very interesting and also very challenging evaluations a few months ago, but we are very pleased with the results, and I think that's my key message. I mean, we really have very good projects as a result. We have a very good also evaluation process overall, and we have also a good ratio between the retained and the proposed proposals. In terms of the balance of beneficiaries, 16% of SMEs, we can do better, but it's still a decent number. International participants, proportion of industry around 60%. So really, basically, we are ticking all the boxes in terms of a very good evaluation. Also, a key learning is that we got a good coverage, and I think this pays tribute to also the work that was done through the 5G association and industry that involved and invested in this pre-structuring model. We think it was a very helpful tool to make sure that we got excellent proposals and that we had good coverage. And at the same time, if you remember my speech last year, I think we were very happy to see that there was also diversity, and it was not just the inner circle of the association that was selected, but that indeed there is also diversity there, so no lock-in from the PPP itself. So very happy from our side, and I hope you are also pleased with the results. If you look at the ICT 14 projects, I mean, we really have a fantastic consortium, a long list of projects. I won't go very much in the details, but you can see that we have there really the backbone for developing some very interesting 5G research and for hopefully getting some very concrete deliverables in terms of standards, in terms of contributions for spectrum, and more generally in terms of breaking the barriers in terms of technology. Interesting as well, we were able to add 5G Ensure, so it's another project dealing also with security, thanks to an increase in our budget to complement the coverage. So, very good results. Something I wanted to announce as well is that it's not only about individual projects that were selected. So the 5G PPP is not business as usual, we keep saying. What it means is that we have really pushed for some concrete collaboration between all these projects. And I hope even more, between projects that will be also going beyond the 5G PPP. Because we want these projects to be the engine of our activities. We want them really to populate the 5G association's working groups, to provide substantial inputs, and really to work together as a program. It's not only about one project delivering some elements, it's about 19 projects working together to deliver these milestones. So in fact, to make this even clearer, we have worked with the projects to have what is called a collaboration agreement. And I'm very happy to announce that it was just finalized. So now we are just expecting the final signature in the coming days. And this collaboration agreement will stipulate joint definition of issues of common interest, and it will facilitate the sharing of results between all these projects. So together with this dynamics, we are very hopeful that all the projects will make a big difference. And with the Commission support and the CSA Euro 5G support, we are confident that we can make all these projects work very effectively and very efficiently as well. Now that we have finalized this phase 1 of the PPP, it's fair also to say that there is a question as regards the other projects that are not coming out of ICT 14. Today, you know that we have some clusters that are trying to organize also the activities between these projects. So clearly, with the 5G PPP, we believe that there is a need for a reassessment in terms of how we can organize this clustering and how the projects should work together. within or together or outside the 5G PPP activities. So these are the possibilities somehow either to keep the clusters as they are, or to merge everything into 5G, or to have some mixed approach. So essentially we are planning now to try and address this in the coming month. So all the projects will receive some questionnaire in July, and then we want to also analyze with the 5G PPP a bit how this collaboration agreement works, to see also the possibility maybe to add more projects in the framework. And then we will have in October or November some meeting with these projects to decide and see the way forward. So my hope is that at the Net Futures 2016 conference, which is the conference we have also with colleagues in our directorate for the future internet, we will have a new structure and hopefully also a lot of energy coming from all these projects, 5G and around. So that was a few messages in terms of the 5G call, the 5G phase one, really a lot of positive feedback and also a lot of actions going forward. Now I wanted also to cover two more items and also make another announcement. First is we are talking also about prizes. I mean, this is a new possibility that was offered in Horizon 2020. And the challenge is that you put forward something and you try to make sure that whoever does the best receives some money. So you only receive funding if you are winning somehow in terms of the best proposal. So as far as network technologies are concerned, we have two prizes. And I would like really to emphasize that, please look at them and don't hesitate to compete. So we have one prize which is about collaborative sharing of spectrum, and another prize in terms of breaking the optical transmission barriers. We just had a panel on optical technologies, and we had a lot of discussion through the conference also on spectrum. So these are two prizes we think that they can make a difference. It's not necessarily linked to 5G, but it's linked really to breaking some technology barriers. And for the first prize, we have, a challenge of with a target price of 500,000 euro. The deadline is the 17th of December. As regards the optical prize, the deadline is a bit later because we hope also to have some physical demonstrations. So it's 15th of March 2016. So today I'm very happy to announce that registration and submission for these two prizes is open. So what it means is that essentially you can start really competing as vigorously as you can, because we are opening the registration and they will be closed soon. So you need really to show your colors, get also support from your partners, and get running, because these prizes we think can also receive a lot of publicity and also enhance your activities. So have a look. You have also there the indication for the page on our website where you can find information and also register through the portals. So that was the first important announcement, I would say. The race is on as regards also the prizes. Then as regards Internet of Things, I also wanted to give you some feedback. We have not officially yet announced the results of the evaluation, but nevertheless we had this in June, and we see already what is coming out of the evaluation process. So ICT 30 was a call for 51 million euro funding with the objective to create ecosystems of platforms that can then be used by developers. So it's very much about breaking silos between various vertical areas. We had really many proposals, so there will be many people disappointed, unfortunately. At the same time, it shows that there was a huge interest for the call. What I can share with you is that, interestingly, we found a lot of proposals mentioning Fireware as one of the candidate platforms. We saw also a great use of sub-granting mechanism to also mobilize SMEs and startups. So now we are contemplating publication of, or at least informing the results mid-August, and starting date around November for these projects. What is very interesting is that there will be application areas where these open platforms can be tested and demonstrated, and clearly there will be also some networking dimensions into this. So great news again on this call. I mean, we are very pleased with the results. And our plan is to make sure that also it's organized in a way that is properly done. And that's in that context that I wanted also to remind you about the recent launch of the Alliance for Internet of Things Innovation. This is in a way a new endeavor. I think that Mario Campolargo mentioned it already in his opening speech. But I was saying earlier that we need to create the 5G ecosystem. It's even more true as regards the Internet of Things ecosystem. So we had 60 leading companies actually teaming up in February and calling for this momentum declaration in trying to foster a new alliance, and making sure that as regards Internet of Things, Europe would also take some initiatives to drive this agenda forward. And this is why we have now this structure in place. It's quite ambitious because it is also trying to address horizontal issues. So there will be vertical areas from smart home to agriculture to industrial applications, and horizontal areas in terms of research or IERC, to really supporting the innovation ecosystems as such, to standardization, to policy issues. And this will be very much underpinning the activities we are launching next year in 2016 around notably large-scale pilots. So if you want to join, it's fairly easy. You just need to apply online and express your views as regards the working group you would like to join. It's an open organization, but in particular, we are keen to make sure that on the demand side, so again, the application level, we have more members in this new alliance. And just as a final note on this, but I think it applies also to 5G, we completed a study a few months ago, and I really love this graph when, it seems that the sky is the limit, it keeps growing. So it may be not always what happens, but nevertheless, I think it's the message of hope that I wanted also to pass as a conclusion. And just like for the Internet of Things and 5G, I mean, we are really in a booming area in terms of the technology, in terms of the market potential. So IoT is predicted to top 1 trillion euros revenues in its various components, from hardware to service to connectivity by 2020. So it's a huge opportunity. And altogether, we think that between IoT and 5G, this agenda is really where we can take Europe in terms of the digital single market and in terms of making sure we have, in the end, a better solution. So in conclusion, I wanted just to share with you that this conference is just a sign of where we are. I mean, we are really at a very exciting moment. We have delivered a lot, but we can do even better. But if we want to succeed, what is important is to draw on this partnership dimension. It's a partnership not only between the Commission and industry in terms of this funding we provide. It's not only a partnership in terms of the 5G public-private partnership, but it's also a partnership between the telecom sector and industry as a whole, and the various industries, the various verticals that will be using the networks, the connected devices, for their benefit, but also for the benefit of all of us in this new ecosystem. So we'll stop there with this simple message. We can make it together. So let's join forces and bring it to the next level. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm very pleased to be here. So it should have been the chairman of the 5G Infrastructure Association for this presentation, but since we begin with Nicolas Demassieux from so CNET guy, we had to finish with a CNET guy. So I was chosen to represent the 5G Infrastructure Association to give you some highlights. So first of all, I wanted to go back and show that already Europe has done a lot of things on 5G. And so just to start with something very concrete, at the Mobile World Congress, we had a very successful event. So we delivered a vision, so shaping a bit what 5G will be. And here I've just put the picture of different service capabilities that we are foreseeing for 5G, so very interesting. 3 main domain areas. So one, clearly in the continuity of what we are experiencing today, to the very big success of 4G, with really focusing the improvement of customer experience everywhere. So in transportation, in different very crowded areas, and really providing connectivity and mobile broadband where it matters for all the society. So this is the first domain area. The second domain area about the Internet of Things. So it was already well covered by Thibaut, but clearly this is the main domain where we see clear growth for communication infrastructure and really a transformation for the society. Really, we think that 5G infrastructures will be the nervous system of the digital economy, and this Internet of Things service capability will irrigate all the economy. And then the third area is about this mission critical services. And this is also very exciting for us as technologists, and I think we heard a lot about these services during the conference, because here we are dealing with very challenging targets in terms of performances, like latency in the order of a few milliseconds, very resilient network, something like 5.9 resiliency for mobile network is a very exciting challenge. So we have, let's say, good vision of now of the service capabilities that 5G will deliver. It was very well communicated with, you see all these CTOs. It's very rare to have this type of pictures, so I think this was a great achievement, and I think that Jacques can confirm that nearly all the brochures that we printed of this vision have been delivered, and we even had to print it again, so more than 1,000 flyers were distributed, so it's I think a great success to put Europe at the forefront of 5G vision. So first, I talk about the vision. Then second, I would like to talk a bit about international cooperation. So we have seen a lot of our friends from Japan, from South Korea, from USA, from China in the conference. So clearly the association has made bridges with this country and will continue to feed this international cooperation with content and with strong discussions to clearly make 5G a global standard with the very good success that we had in the previous generation of mobile networks. So first, so this conference was really the start of this project. They have started yesterday. Some of them, still 2 will start in October or November. I've put this picture because to show that, you know, all the bubbles are a bit blurred. So it means that they will work together. Clearly, we have had several discussions with the project leaders, and we see that they are willing to work together. There is a strong momentum here, and the 5G Infrastructure Association and the CSA will help to get this momentum. So we already had a workshop in May in Brussels. We had this work on commenting the collaboration agreement, and now the collaboration will start. Maybe what I will stress about is this reaching out to the vertical that Thibaut raised. this is an activity that is really gaining momentum in the industry and in the association. I've seen already in EuCNC that we had one panel on the vertical sector. The attendance was quite great, and also a special session the Wednesday on this topic. We had nearly 80 participants, so clearly there is interest and willingness from the ICT industry to contribute and to work together with this vertical sector. We had several vertical sector players, so we had Peugeot, we had actors from the health industry, also from the media, lots of them. So the association has already a strong relationship with NEM, so the Network Electronic Media ETP, which is working and representing the innovation ecosystem around media and entertainment. So this is something that we have from the start of the association, so from more than 1 year, and we are building content together. And I'm pleased to announce that this week, Ertico, which is an organization with lots of car manufacturers, really dedicated to intelligent transport system and the innovation in the car industry. So Ertico signed the accession letter to become an associated member of the 5G Infrastructure Association this week. So we are clearly getting more and more together and involved between the ICT industry and this vertical sector. Here I've just put some examples of what exciting targets we could have in terms of societal impact of 5G on this vertical sector. So here on automotive, for example, the autonomous driving, or even the assistance in driving with funny or exciting features such as device-to-device or very low latency will be really enabled by this 5G infrastructure. On health, lots of things also, but really being able to deal with chronic diseases will be really easier with 5G. So these diseases cost a lot to the society today, and being able to go beyond the hospital barrier and to have the sensors everywhere will be really important for the society, and enabled by this technology. We will start, and we are already starting on these activities with 4G, but 5G will deliver even more with capabilities to handle low energy and low cost sensors. Also media and entertainment, I will not tell much about, but clearly shaping the new media and how we see content will be really better with 5G. And on factory, clearly we are inventing here the factory of the future with 3D printers, with the collaborative factory, so really being able to remotely control the tools that help to build the really things. And on the energy, really, the challenge around renewables is closely linked to the evolution of ICT infrastructure. And this challenge is really important for the next 10 years and beyond. So maybe to finish with some concrete step for to move forward beyond this project starting and this activities that we are building on the 5G Infrastructure Association. Here you have the plan to build a phase 2 pre-structuring model that was highlighted by Thibaut just before. So there is basically 4 actions to build this pre-structuring model. First is the analysis of phase 1, portfolio, and how we see also the different aspects of this portfolio of project evolving toward phase 2. The second, in purple, is the strategy definition on testbed and experimentation, which will go a further step during phase 2. And then the pre-structuring model in itself, which is in green. So you see EuCNC, we are here in June, in the middle of the map. So there are still room for contributions. I think we heard lots of interesting things during the conference that could be integrated in this work. There will be a consultation about this pre-structuring model during September, October, and so you are very invited to contribute to this public consultation. And then during ICT 2015, the real launch of this phase 2 will be open. So just to finish, we have a survey on call 1. So if you participate, or if you wanted to participate in call 1 but did not manage to do it, can look at this URL and fill the questionnaire. It will help us a lot to build this successful phase 2. So thank you very much, and I hope that the adventure will still continue, and that we'll build together very good 5G. So I think there is another presentation from Bernard, so I will let the floor to Bernard, except if there is any.
So thank you, Jean-Sébastien. I mean, it's nice because Thibaut and Jean-Sébastien sketched a view of the future. What I am going to talk about is the potential tools that you have to make this future happen, to support the future. So I will tell you about primarily the next work program 2016-2017, within the limits that I can talk about, because as you probably know, we have not yet finalized the institutional process to finally approve this work program internally on the one hand, and with the member states on the other hand. So that's the reason why you see this draft big sign on the slides. And the status we have today is that we have a fairly, I would say, stable work program text because we had already 2 intensive rounds of discussions with the member states, and the last round that we had, I think it was acknowledged by the member states that they were really happy with the progress that we had made in trying to comply with their requirements. And now we have, let's say, a version which I would believe 99.9 something is very close to final version. We still have to go through what we call the process of inter-service consultations. Actually, this process is already started. That means give all the Commission services possibility to comment on the text that we have provided, and possibility to raise questions and suggestions for modifications. But this we don't expect, let's say, very large number of difficulties. We have been already through this process to consult on the various side of the program, and on the, let's say, on the parts which are related to the Unit E1, which is related to primarily 5G and IoT, we believe that we now have a very stable agreement to move forward these topics into the next work program. So the official presentation will be at the Lisbon conference on the 20th of October, that between the 20th and the 22nd of October. This will be the rollout of the text. So what the text says, at this moment in time, the orientations which are taken in this text are, first of all, to implement, of course, the 5G PPP phase 2. And compared to the previous version, taking into account the several discussions we had with the association, we will put in this next version of the work program more emphasis on, first of all, moving potentially towards demonstration stages. That means more proof of concepts, potentially more demonstrations. We don't run into, let's say, commercial type demonstrations, which is potentially outside of reach of collaborative projects. But we try already to push the projects towards something which is more of visibility in terms of testing the technology in close to, I wouldn't say too close to usage context, but showing already that the technology can satisfy at a certain level of scales the key performance indicators that have been specified in the PPP, with also the demonstration of the users' interest, which means that we are pushing also within this text for more links to the verticals which are already mentioned several times in the previous proposals. So how does this itemize into, let's say, topics? We have a first research strand, which is basically three core topics. One is radio network and architectures, which is not so much different from the one we had in the previous call, but which is again moving more maybe towards experiments, and which is providing a sort of evolution path to the projects which were contracted before. There is a novelty here that we have introduced in this call, more visibly optical technology, especially on optical core, in connection to the possibilities of feeding the, let's say, 5G very high rate type of access. And SDN and FV, which were topics which were previously under the innovation strand, after several discussions, it was found reasonable to reinsert it also into the research strand. So now we have a strong SDN and FV component, which covers also the architectural elements, which have been discussed several times in presentations this week. Network management, security, these type of things are included in this path. And then we have a second set of strands under innovation, where again we have included optical support to access, and this is very much in line with the comments of Dimitra in the previous panel, where she said that this is something that she would see as a sort of short-term type of topic. So it's very with this spirit that we have put forward this optical, let's say, access element. And then we have another element which is called network apps. That means that it's the first stage to try to show that within a virtualized environment, you can start to open the ecosystem to third-party developers. And this is where we would try to incentivize a sort of ecosystem of developers to start of maturing or emerging around virtualized type of networks. Again, one CSA will have an opportunity to support this activities. What we will do in this 5G PPP activity, which we could not do in the previous program, but what we have proposed to do, and this has been accepted, we will use what we call legal clause 41.4, which means that by having ex ante this legal clause in the work program, it means that those proposals which are submitted, they ex ante agree to implement collaboration across all the retained projects. And this is something which is reasonably successful because the member states told us, but this should be applied to all the PPP, to all the PPP. So we have created a certain momentum on this clause. So now it will be our challenge to implement it. And if you want, the light version of this clause 41.4 is what was presented earlier with the collaboration agreement. Now, second element that Thibault alluded to was is the IoT, so-called IoT-focused action. We had 51 million in the previous work program for IoT. In the next work program, the intention is to have much more, with the idea that there are a lot of technologies happening or available in the IoT domain. But there is also a lot of fragmentation. We see IoT initiatives a little bit all over the place. I mean, there are plenty of IoT initiatives on the industrial side. There are plenty of IoT initiatives in the member states. And we try to, let's say, promote deployment and deployment of ecosystems through support of what we call large-scale pilots. So this will be an important element of the activities. The main concept behind large-scale pilot, it is conceived as a partnership between the supply industry and the user industry. So we will have a number of pilot areas where, so I can mention a few examples, for instance, in the context of smart cities, or in the context of agriculture, or in the context of home systems, with a focus on health, maintaining health at home. So there are a number of pilots which have been defined, for which we had long discussions internally and also with consultants, and we made a lot of studies on that. And the idea behind the large-scale pilots are twofold. On the one hand, to validate the technology, but not only the technology, to validate the business cases, because we realize that for many IoT technologies, there are plenty of questions open from the business perspective, from how do you manage the return on investment, and what is the return on investments. So this perspective is very much encapsulated into the definition of the large-scale pilot. So both sides, supply side, user side, technological validation, but also business validation. And the idea is that we would use also these pilots to validate common technologies. Thibault mentioned the Fireware platform earlier, but we would like also to have some sort of technologies platforms that can support the maximum number of use cases. So there are these two dimensions from the usage perspective and from the technological platform perspective, which are really framing this IoT large-scale pilot initiative. The organization that Thibaut mentioned earlier, the IoT organization, will be involved in helping us to understand the result and what comes out of these pilots, and also how we have to interpret. So they will also be associated in the steering of the initiatives. So with this, we have planned a CSA, which is, let's say, will be the tool that we will have to facilitate discussion across the pilots and try to get some sort of common lessons coming out of the pilots. So this will be used as a tool to federate the outputs of the pilots, usability of standards, or what kind of missing technologies, and this type of things. And there will be a third pillar, which is in the pure research and innovation domain, where we will try to push further the technology available for IoT in specific domains such as end-to-end security. So we believe that end-to-end, at least it's our understanding, that end-to-end security is something which is not so much developed in the IoT domain, or other type of technologies such as how we move from Internet of Things to Web of Things. So there are a number of things which have been put under the research and innovation block. And this will be open for the first two April 2016 for submission of proposal, and April 2017 for the last step, for the last type of proposal. Few words on international cooperation. I don't have much time, so I will go very fast. But we have two joint calls with Japan and with Korea. They are sort of operationalizing the agreements and the memorandum of understandings that have been signed on the industrial side with these regions and between the Commission also and this region. So we have basically for the EU-Japan call, we have one 5G block, an IoT and cloud platform technologies, and this will be open for the submission of proposals in January 2016. And with the Republic of Korea, we have also a 5G block, which is more related to interoperability and reference architectures for the overall access. And another block on Internet of Things, and this is again open for submission in January 2016. There is another call with Brazil, which is primarily focused on IoT platforms, and which embeds three pilots, at least three pilots. What we would like to initiate with Brazil, according to the interest that they have and that we have, is to set in motion three pilots, which are detailed in the call text. And that is what we call a targeted opening. So it's not a joint call. It's let's say it's an operation where the proposals are entirely EU proposals, but they include, at the level of eligibility criteria, they include partners from Taiwan. And this is, let's say, 5G related, and this is related to testing and experimental facilities that the Taiwanese administration has accepted to make available for testing in Taiwan. So it's an offer that was made to us from the Taiwanese administration, if you want, that we have taken on board. And this will be open for submission under the PPP call, for which the submission date for proposal is November 2016. So there is another block, which is to a certain extent the successor of ICT5 and ICT6, beyond 5G, where here we call for more innovative, non-roadmap based type of technological approaches in subjects such as exploitation of very high frequencies beyond 5G, or digital signal processor, or advanced architectures. Here again, the submission of proposal is for November 2016. So the next important stakeholder meeting that we are going to have is the conference in Lisbon, again, between the 20th and 22nd of October. In the context of this conference, there will be several networking sessions organized. In particular, we have organized networking sessions with all the international partners that I mentioned, Japan, Korea, Taiwan. So there will be specific networking sessions with the stakeholders of these regions for those who are interested. And then there will be the traditional, let's say, presentation sessions where we expose let's say, the program as we do normally in this type of conferences. One last word, which is something that Mario Campolago alluded to in his opening speech that we are now discussing with the stakeholders, is that we are now trying to put together, in parallel to the Lisbon conference, a sort of common meeting between various regional 5G associations, that mean 5G MF in Japan, or IMT 2020 promotion group in China, and so on, to start the discussion on how we operationalize the non-research topics of 5G. That means trying to exchange views on each region, from each region perspective on issues such as spectrum and standards. So this will also take place in the context of this conference. So with these few words, I hand over to Thibaut for the concluding remarks.
I don't have really anything more to add. I think we can basically just rejoin and conclude on this successful EuCNC conference. And also I would like to maybe welcome on stage some of the organizers if they are here, just to make sure that we are all ready for the next year. So please. If you can just come with me and conclude this successful conference. I would like very much to thank also all of you for staying until the very last session. And the activities now are very much in terms of bringing forward all these projects and making sure that we indeed shape the vision of 5G in the coming years. Thank you very much and see you next year. Bye-bye.